What's up, guys, and welcome back to my reading journey. Hope we're all doing fine, and today we're going to continue with the fourth part of next to reading matter. All right, let's do this. Can any woman want more? Asks Fergus McMahon. Can she do with less? I ask. How can we separate our mutual attractions, and how shall we apportion the proceeds? How shall we apportion the proceeds? Then Fergus tell me his scheme. The house of the accolade Don Zamora, he says, has a patio, of course, a kind of inner courtyard opening from the street. In an angle of it is his daughter's window, as dark a place as you could find. And what do you think he wants me to do? Why, knowing my freedom, charm, and skillfulness of tongue, he proposes that I go into the patio at midnight when the hobgoblin face of me cannot be seen, and make love to her for him, by the pretty man that she has seen on the plaza, thinking him to be Don Judson Tate. Why shouldn't I do it for him, for my friend Fergus McMahon? For him to ask me was a compliment, an acknowledgement of his own shortcomings. You little, lily-white, fine-haired, highly polished piece of dumb sculpture, says I. I'll help you. Make your arrangements and get me in the dark outside her window, and my stream of conversation open up with the moonlight tremulous top turned on, and she's yours. Tremulous top. Moonlight tremulous top. Keep your face hid, Judd, said Fergus. For heaven's sake, keep your face hid. I'm a friend of yours in all kinds of sentiment, but this is a business deal. If you could talk, I wouldn't ask you. But seeing me and listening to you, I don't see why she can't be landed. By you, says I. By me, says Fergus. Well, Fergus and Diana Francesca attended to the details, and one night they fetched me a long black cloak with a high collar and led me to the house at midnight. I stood by the window in the patio until I heard a voice, as soft and sweet as an angel's whisper, on the other side of the bars. I could see only a faint white-clad shape inside, and through the Fergus, I pulled the collar on my cloak high up, for it was July in the wet season, and the nights were chilly, and smothering a laugh, and I thought of the tongue-tied Fergus. I began to talk. Well, sir, I talked an hour at the Senorita Annabella. I say at because it was not with. Now and then she would say, "Oh, senor," or "Now, ain't you fooling?" or "I know you don't mean that," and such things as women will when they are being rightly courted. Both of us knew English and Spanish, so in two languages I tried to win the heart of the lady for my friend Fergus. But for the bars to the window, I could have done it in one. At the end of the hour, she dismissed me and gave me a big red rose. I handed it over to Fergus when I got home. For 3 weeks, every third or fourth night, I impersonated my friend in the patio at the window of Senorita Annabella. At last, she admitted that her heart was mine and spoke of having seen me every afternoon when she drove in the plaza. It was Fergus. It was Fergus she had seen, of course, but it was my talk that won her. Fergus all suppose Fergus had gone there and tried to make a hit in the dark with his beauty all invisible, and not a word to say for himself. On the last night, she promised to be mine. That is Fergus's. And she put her hand between the bars for me to kiss. I bestowed the kiss and took the news to Fergus. You might have laughed at for me to do, says he. That'll be your job hereafter, says I. Keep on doing that and don't try to talk. Maybe after she think she's in love, she won't notice the difference between real conversation and the inarticulate sort of droning that you give forth. Now I had never seen Senorita Annabella, so the next day Fergus asked me to walk with him through the plaza and view the daily promenade, an exhibition of Autorama society, a sight that had no interest for me, but I went, and children and dogs took the banana groves and swamps mangrove swamps as soon as they had a look at my face. Here she comes, said Fergus, frilling his moustache. The one in white in the open carriage with the black horse. I looked and felt the ground rock under my feet, for Senorita Annabella Zamora was the most beautiful woman in the world, and the only one from that moment on. So far as Judson Tate was concerned, I saw at a glance that I must be hers, and she mine forever. I thought of my face, and nearly fainted. And then I thought of my other talents and stood upright again. And I had been wooing her for 3 weeks for another man. As Senorita Annabella's carriage rolled slowly past, she gave Fergus a long, soft glance from the corners of her night-black eyes, a glance that would have sent Judson Tate up into heaven in a rubber-tired chariot, but she never looked at me, and that handsome man only ruffles his curls and smirks and prances like a lady killer at my side. What do you think of her, Judson? Asks Fergus with an air. That this much, says I. She is to be Mrs. Judson Tate. I'm no man to play tricks on a friend. So take your warning. I thought Fergus would die laughing. Well, said he. You old dough face. Struck too. Are you? That's great. but you're too late. Francesca tells me that Annabelle talks of nothing but me, day and night. Of course, I'm awfully obliged to you for making that chill music to her of evenings. But do you know, I've an idea that I could have done it as well myself. Mrs. Judson Tate, says I, don't forget the name. You've had the use of my tongue to go with your good looks, my boy. You can't lend me your looks, but hereafter my tongue is my own. Keep your mind on the name that's to be on the visiting cards to end 2 inches by 3.5. Mrs. Judson Tate. That's all. That's all, guys, for today, and we're gonna continue with the fifth part, but tomorrow. Thank you for joining me today, and see you. Bye.